Hey everyone, it's Brandy and you're watching Abstract Crafter. In today's video, we have a bit of a mashup. I have some things to work on. So if you want some company while I clean up some projects, prep some canvases, put some drills away from past projects, then grab your diamond painting, grab your craft project, or grab whatever it is that you're working on. Get settled, and we will get started in just a few moments. Hello friends, welcome back. And if you are new to my channel, welcome. Hi, how are ya? I'm glad that you stopped by today. I am glad that you all stopped by today to spend a little bit of time with me while I clean up my workroom. It is such a mess. I haven't been down in my craft area for a couple of weeks, actually, and I have so much to do. I have projects to put away. I have some canvases to prep. I have just general cleanup. If you could see beyond the borders of the screen, it's pretty bad. So the plan is I'm just going to talk to you about the things that have been going on recently, why there hasn't been much as far as uploads, what I've been doing, why my hand is in a sling with tape on it. Sling, a cat. It's not a sling. It's a brace. And we'll get into all that and so much more. I have so much to share with you guys. But what I need to do in this video, and it's nothing that you need to watch. You can treat this like a drill with me. There may be times where there could be things to look at, but for the most part, I'm just going to be chatting with you guys. And like I said, we'll just think of this as a drill with me style video. If you have things like this that you need to get done, then we'll be doing that together as well. So I have a few projects that I need to get kitted up, but before I can do that, I have things like this. Labels need to be taken off. I have a couple projects like that. I have all of these that need to be put into baggies from the stickers that I did. And then I have some squares that need to be put away. I have been slowly working on this, but I haven't been able to really get down into my craft room. And I'm just going to start, and feel free to, like I said, just do whatever you would normally do if this were a drill with me. It'll really be no different. I'll be talking, you'll be listening. I'll be rambling, you'll be listening. So, obviously, some of you guys have seen the video I posted with the snowstorm. If you haven't seen that, that'll give you a really good idea of where I've been. And you can kind of get an understanding of why I haven't really been able to do much for recording, because it's taken all of my time. We have not been hit with this amount of snow in, I want to say I was 12. So well over 20 years since we've been hit with a storm of this magnitude. So, none in my adult lifetime. We've had some snow dumps, but nothing like this. I mean, there is nowhere, and I'm going to vent a little bit about how my city has handled this, some of the drama that's been going on surrounding this storm, but just as a little bit of a background, there's been so much snow, and we've been hit a few times. We got hit once with a couple, I want to say 6 inches, 4 to 6 inches before the blizzard, and then the blizzard dropped 2 feet, which it doesn't seem like a lot, but in the context of things, it's a ton, especially in a city of 35,000. So it's a pretty busy city. It's well used. It's got a lot of, inhabitants and a lot of travel. So we have 2 major highways that run through the city. So, and then after the blizzard, we got hit with another storm shortly after that. 2 storms, in fact. And then a few just random snowdrops here and there. It's a lot. Like I said, go watch that vlog and it'll give you some pretty good insight into how much snow has actually dropped. And I actually have been taking video of every snow drop since then. And I'll probably put a follow-up video up. In the snow, the blizzard was 2 feet more in some areas, depending on how it drifted, but it was heavy and wet snow. And if you don't know anything about snow, then none of it will make sense. But, you know, there are different types of snow that you can get in a area that, and we have an added one here that a lot of places don't get, which is called lake effect snow, which basically just means if you live near the lake, as I do, I'm probably a good 2 or 3 blocks away from the lake, in fact, you get even more snow in that way. So, you can get some, like, really light, fluffy snow that you wouldn't be able to make a snowball out of, really. It just almost looks like little styrofoam balls, if you will. And then you can get light, fluffy snow that has a little bit more moisture in it. And those ones you could maybe make some snowballs that would hold together for a little bit, but not enough to make a snowman or anything. And then what the blizzard dropped was very wet, heavy snow. And this is the kind where you could pack a snowball and you could feel the moisture in it. And just before that blizzard with the wet, heavy snow, we had even a wetter snowdrop that was, I don't know, it didn't really stay. It was really warm, but what it did was leave ice, a nice layer of ice on the ground. Pretty thick, not quite an inch, but, you know, ice is ice, and so that laid underneath. And when the snow started, we knew it was coming. The city knew it was coming, and in fact, our city had purchased a couple $1 million worth of brand new equipment, like snow plows, snow graders, and there's another machine I'm not remembering right now. But they had purchased all this new equipment, and it was told to the city that it would make cleanup faster. So typically what the city does is during any kind of snow dump, snowstorm, they will be out during the storm or the snowfall, and they'll be cleaning it up and plowing as the storm progresses to kind of keep up on it. And then when it's over, they'll push snow back, like the sides of the roads, they'll widen them out, they'll start clearing like pathways, walkways, and do what's called snow removal, which is where they'll take these graders and grate up the snow that's been packed down on the roads and put it into dump trucks, and wherever they bring it somewhere, and they kind of shave down all these pathways and stuff. But we're not even there yet. And the storm started November 30th, I believe. It ended, I want to say, December 1st, maybe December 2nd. It was like really done, and cleanup kind of was starting. But during the storm, they couldn't keep up. They would plow a road, and before they could even, make it all the way down the road, the winds would be so strong, and it would carry the snow into big drifts that were, several feet high in areas, and they ended up having to pull the plows off the roads. So for days and days, many parts of the city weren't getting plowed in. And I'm just giving you a little bit of background before I go into my personal stuff. That's stuff that you won't know in the video, because the video kind of stops pretty much before I start doing my snow, like as I'm starting my cleanup around my house. So a lot of side roads weren't done, and people who had traveled, they did what they had to do, and because the snow was so wet and heavy, it would leave big grooves where the tires had went, and if you had like a truck, you would be fine. You'd be able to get through it, but the ruts were becoming so deep that anybody who had like a low car, there was no way that they were making it anywhere. And my mom, I needed to go help dig her out after I dug myself out. Okay, wait, now I'm jumping ahead. So let's back up. Let's talk about my cleanup. So I have my property as a corner lot, and corner lots always have a lot more cleanup, I guess, if you will. Okay, look at that. I got one container free. So there's one project that I can kit up. I still need to take stickers off of these ones. So, okay. So we just have an electric snowblower. It does its job. It's pretty good. It's nothing like some gas ones, obviously. But we didn't think we'd need it. We bought it before we knew this blizzard was coming. We just thought it would be nice to help save some time shoveling, because we have a driveway and we're a corner lot. So our lot goes from... Now, if you're not familiar with what a city block is, we'll just say, just imagine a square, and through the middle of the square would be typically an alley, which is usually gravel. It's not paved, and it's where people usually will park in their garages and stuff. Garages are usually on these alleys, and like garbage cans and stuff will be set in the alleys for the garbage trucks and stuff to come by and pick them up. So my lot runs from the alley on. So in the city block, my garage is on the alley, as is most people's, and it runs all the way the rest of the block. Whereas on the other half of the city block, there's probably 3 or 4 houses down that way that are responsible for clearing their sidewalks and any walkways that connect to the roads. We are responsible for clearing them, even if they are not technically our property. It's a city mandate. And we have 48 hours from the end of any snow dump or storm to clear these. And if we don't, the mailman can refuse to deliver mail. You can't get packages. And in some cases, the city will send somebody, they'll hire somebody to come clear your sidewalks and then send you a bill. And it's not necessarily fair, but it's just the way it works. And it is meant to help keep people responsible to do their part in maintaining their city. And I've never minded doing it, except after this blizzard, because then that's just the side of my house. And then I have my driveway, and we have the front of our house, which is where our mailbox and stuff is. And that's just a normal, what most people have to shovel. I have that added on to the rest of it. So I needed to make a path through the length of my property, front and side, and then any sidewalks that's connected to the road, which I have 2. One where the mailman would come in, and one where the kids who take the bus would need to access the road to cross the street where the bus stop is. And I'm sorry if this noise is distracting, and if you don't like the sound of nails scraping, I'm really sorry. I'm trying to not to be so gougy, but being gentle isn't going to do the job either. So anyway, so it took me a couple of days, as you can imagine, to clear that much snow. It's heavy. You can't do it in one go. The snowblower did an amazing job helping cut through what it needed to, but we still, it can't do everything. And then once the city plows go by and push the snow back, it's like shoveling rocks and cement. And it's usually much higher than the initial snowbank, because it's all the stuff from the road being pushed up on top of what's already there. And it can only go so high. After a while, it needs to come inward, which it did several times. So, hold on. My cat is scratching. Oh, I mean, I don't care if they scratch my workbench. I just didn't want it to pick up on the mic. Okay, anyway. So, back to what I was saying. I might need to think about it for a moment to try to remember where I was going with that. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, no sooner than I get the property cleared and what I need to clear, and the city plows come by and push that back. And I also have to do I have basically like 3 decks. If you don't know what a deck is, I'm just thinking of my overseas people. They might have different words for them. Like I have a deck and a patio in my backyard. Well, what we call, excuse me, a deck and a patio. And my decks are usually wooden and off the ground a little bit. And all 3 of our porches are decks of different sizes. So we have to at least clear them enough to get off of them. And in the backyard, we have the added patio that has to be cleared so the dog has somewhere to go to the bathroom. And if you're noticing that my nails, if you're actually like glancing up and you notice things, yes, I have very stained nails. I have been painting with a lot of very pigmented nail polish, and I just didn't have time if I wanted to film this video to go up for you guys today. So I just wanted to add that in there really quick. So yes. And so then the plows go by, they do that. They actually went by like 3 times. Just the first 2 times were just to clear the snow from the road so people would stop getting stuck. And then the 3rd time was to actually push the snow back. Because if more snow then falls, it has to have somewhere to go. They need somewhere to push that snow in anticipation, of future snow. So then after all this, I had to go over and help shovel my mom out. And I will get into some more personal stuff now. That's just kind of the background of everything. So I think it was like the next day. I can't remember exactly what day, but it was soon enough that the city plows hadn't even done her roads. And she kind of lives off of one of the highways that doubles as one of the main roads in our town. And she also lives on kind of a corner lot. It's an alley with a restaurant on the other side of it. So it's kind of a weird alley. It's not quite in the middle. But she also has like a driveway in her alley. Whereas ours comes off our road, hers comes off her alley. So I make my way over to my mom's, and the roads are just awful. Just ruts everywhere. We even have a couple of roads that are designated as snow emergency routes. So if there's a storm, these are supposed to be the first roads cleared. And they go to places like the hospital, the fire department, the police station, emergency places, so that in an emergency, you shouldn't have any trouble accessing said roads. So I traveled those on my way to my mom's house, and it wasn't so bad until I got closer to her house. I needed to stop at the grocery store. So that was my first mistake, was going to the grocery store. I go to the grocery store and I can see that it's not good. I can see that it hasn't been done. Like, businesses and stuff will hire private plows to come and do their property. And they were doing the best they could considering how much traffic was out and about, I guess, because people around this town panic like crazy when it comes to storms, and they usually will shop. Like, I used to be a manager at Walmart, and anytime there was any kind of storm, big or small, it would get so busy, and people would just be buying like they were going to be trapped in their homes for months on end, or not even ever be able to get back to a store. That's how people react in this town, which isn't invalid. I mean, I can see it to an extent, but I did kind of the same thing. I just did my normal shopping before the storm started. But then we realized that we had forgotten a couple things like cat litter and just like silly little things. So I thought, well, I'll stop at this grocery store. So I'm at the grocery store and it's busier than heck. And all of a sudden I'm driving and some jackass pulls out, reverses in front of me, and I have to stop, which gets me stuck in this slushy mess because I drive a minivan. It's a newer one, but it's not equipped for this kind of, mess. I also had a truck that I had gifted to my mom. It would have been fine, but the van was not meant to go through this kind of slushy snow. Not many vehicles are, to be fair. But, so yeah, this guy backs out in front of me, and I have to stop suddenly, which gets me, and I'm in the middle of, like, where, like, a turn lane would be, essentially, to turn around the different rows of parking spaces. So I get stuck. Luckily, most people in my town, you're going to be split 50-50. You're going to have the people who are going to sit and bitch and complain about the city not doing enough and people not paying attention and, everything is everybody else's fault, yet they do nothing to help. They're not out with a shovel. They're not out doing what they can to help their neighbors. But then you get the other half of the city that is driving around in trucks with plows on them and shovels in their backs trying to help anybody out that they can. So luckily for me, that was my situation right after I got stuck. Somebody stops, sees my situation, assesses it, tells me how to turn my wheels and how to get unstuck. And then with groceries in one arm, uses his free arm to push my van backwards as I'm giving it gas to get me out. So I get out. I finally managed to find a spot where I can easily get out if I need to. Okay, now I'm gonna just pause real quick and move on to putting some of these drills away. None of these have DMCs, and I'm not interested right now in matching them to anything in my book. It's something I'll do later. All I'm trying to do right now is match them to each other and put them in new spots, and then later on when I have time and I don't have a million projects to put away, I will then go ahead and see if I can find matches and DMC numbers and all that fun stuff. But for now, I'm just trying to get them put away into some new sleeves, which I think I have extras laying around. Okay, so anyway, so I get out and my mom tells me, I leave the grocery store. My mom tells me that the restaurant that's across the alley from her is cleared out and letting people park there. So I'm like, great, fantastic. I don't have to deal with anything else. I can just pull in here, shovel her out so she can at least get her truck out and leave. Well, as soon as I drive by the entrance into the restaurant, somebody's blocking the way as they are stuck in some ruts and I cannot get in there, so I have no choice but to go forward. Now, straight ahead of me, picture this in your mind's eye, if you will, as I look for another clear sheet of, I think I might have to get a different book, and then I'll tell you this story. So I drive past this opening of the restaurant, and panic immediately sets in because what I see in front of me is two ruts into the road where cars have traveled. I can see 2 blocks ahead that somebody has been stuck in the middle of the road and they ain't going nowhere. I have no choice but to go forward. I get the 2 blocks up where this car is stuck and I have to make a very quick decision and these are a series of one-ways. So the one right past her house goes one way, and then the one that I'm approaching is going the opposite way. So I have to make a very quick decision which way I want to turn. Because at this point it doesn't matter as long as I can get off of the road. And I don't think it would have mattered which way I turned, but I got stuck, of course. I mean, couldn't go anywhere. I was in snow up to my wheel well. So very, very deep. I had no shovel with me because I was not very smart in this instance. I'm sorry. I'm looking for some. There they are, baggies. I have nowhere to go, and I try, like, there's a thing you can do in your vehicle where you kind of rock it, and it's hard to explain. You just, if you know it, the method, you know it. But I'm trying to rock my vehicle out of this rut with no shovel, so I grab I have like a brush for like a windshield. It's got like an ice scraper on one end and a brush on the other, so you can get like snow off your windshield or scrape ice off, and that's all I have. And I realized that's not gonna work, so I throw my flashers on, thinking it's not really gonna matter because this car is stuck in front of me anyway. I'm in the middle of the intersection, but I'm thinking nobody's gonna, even if they get down here, they ain't going anywhere either. So I throw my flashers on and I run to my mom's as fast as I can. But mind you, I had been shoveling all day and I am incredibly out of shape at this stage in my life. Yeah, I'm not, like, I exercise some, and most of that is from cleaning and doing things around the house. And I'm going to pause myself real quick. I did buy a timer so that I don't get cut off on my own clips. So if you hear a beeping, I apologize. I will switch clips, start the timer over, and continue on wherever I am in the story. Hopefully I don't lose my spot. This is something new I'm trying. So yes. So by the time I get to my mom's 2 blocks down, I am completely out of breath. My legs start cramping, both legs, because I'm obviously dehydrated after shoveling for 2 days. I think it had been at that point. Maybe only a day. Either way, it don't matter. It was the first big shovel of the year, so I was not... Yeah, I felt like I was fine until I had to walk through this mushy, wet snow to go to my mom's and get a shovel to get myself out. And my brother decides to get dressed, and he is going to come help me at least. But, he needs to get dressed and ready. I think I'm going to have to I can't even close this baggie with this brace on. I got to take it off so I can at least do this. And I'll tell you about that. We're getting there. So yeah, so I just tell him I'll meet him down there. I'm going to go start shoveling out. And by the time I get out of her house and start heading down toward my van, I see that I have another car stuck behind me. And both of these cars are sports cars. So I don't know what either of them thought that they were going to do or where they were going to go. I mean, I guess maybe they did what I did and just saw that, they just had to try. I mean, especially if you've lived on those roads. I mean, what choice did you have? And I'll tell you how long it took those plows to get there, too, once I'm done with all this. But, so now the owner of the other car manages to come back as well at the same time. The car that was stuck in front of me that prevented me from getting out and forcing me to turn into a whole new set of ruts. So he's by himself. He had went to go call a tow truck to help get him out, and the tow truck came, looked down the road, and said there was no way he was coming down the road to get him out, that they would both end up getting stuck. So he had to just figure it out. So I explained to them both, the kid that was stuck in front of me and the kid that was stuck alongside me, that the only way out in my plan was to get back into those ruts and just back up down the road. And so that was my suggestion to them, and that was the plan that we went with. And and of course they're both young kids, so yeah, not that that means anything, but when you're a 38-year-old, I think I'm 38. Yes, 38-year-old lady, and you got two 20-somethings right there. Obviously, they're going to be a lot stronger and quicker than me, and So one of them grabs my shovel and starts digging, and off to the side of us was another car that I hadn't even been aware of at this point. And just out of nowhere comes a third person. Now, in the car that was stuck in front of me, there was just one single guy. In the car stuck kind of behind me, alongside me, it was one single kid, but he was going to visit his friend who must have lived around the corner, because all of a sudden he appeared from nowhere. So the one kid, like I said, took my shovel, started digging me out. The other kids each had a shovel of their own, and then from down the street came another guy. He just came out of nowhere, really. Like I said, I hadn't seen that his car was stuck, but he came, and between the four of us, we start digging out all the cars, and we come up with a game plan to get the car alongside of me out first, get him backed up and out of the way, and then once he was clear, he would come back, or he did come back, and the car that was in front of me, we wanted to get out as well. No. We got the van out first. I had my brother back up. He backs up down the block to the first road, the first one way that I had to cross, just like a half a block away from my mom's house, and he turns a little sharp and gets stuck. So he just stays in the van while the rest of us help get the car that was in front of me out, and he gets down about as far as he can get to where my brother is now stuck for the third time this night. And so we get my brother moving, we get this other guy down, and anytime somebody got unstuck and got their car in the clear, they'd come back, and after about an hour and a half, we got all four cars unstuck and on their way, and I pulled into this restaurant, and I just stayed there. I, by then, had no energy left to help shovel. I did a little bit. I tried to snow blow, but the wind had picked up at this point. I was exhausted. My muscles were screaming in pain, and I was just done for. But my brother, my mom's truck, he had been driving my mom's truck, and that was stuck in the alley right next to her house, like right behind the restaurant, but not quite into her driveway, because her driveway had drifted up to about her torso. So we're about the same height, so I can say my torso, I suppose. And it had drifted up to that point, and it was just insane. So I started snow blowing. I realized it was kind of a lost cause at this point. We needed to just I needed to come back when it was daylight out and I could see what I was doing a little bit better. And while I'm working on her driveway, my brother is trying to get her truck unstuck. My dad happens to come to help him get out, and he's pulling and pulling and pulling on this truck, and I thought my van was stuck, but this truck was really stuck. It was up above the wheel wells, which sit higher than my van. So, much bigger tires. So my dad has like a winch on his truck. It's just a little Jeep, and they hook that up, and he's basically got to drag the truck out, because every time they get a little bit of momentum, the truck dies. And they actually ended up breaking her axle, and it cost her $1,200 to get it fixed. So that was fun. And so in the meantime now, I got lucky in my neighborhood. There's plenty of people that live in this neighborhood. It's like a teeny tiny little community, and people had been keeping up on the roads until the city plows got through. I think it ended up being 3 days before the city plows came by and did my mom's side roads, main roads. But it took another day and a half, I think it was, before they went down her alley. And in the meantime, a recycling truck, which is basically the same size as a garbage truck, tried to go through the alley to, retrieve recycling, and got stuck. And he was trying to get out. He kept spinning his wheels and he ended up digging big ruts into the alleyway, kicking up. There was mud and grease and just rocks everywhere. So anyhow, so that just made it even more of a mess in that place, which, I mean, this whole thing is a mess. And you know, the one thing that I will agree with a lot, like, there is this community page called something like If You're From Superior, Wisconsin, or either way, it's for people who live here and people who moved away. It's like a group, if you will, on Facebook. And then there's another one if you want to whine and complain about Superior. So I was reading through the threads, and there was people that it was a week later and they still hadn't seen any plows. Their alley still hadn't been done. But you'd also hear the good stories about people who were, you know, going around and helping shovel their neighbors out, taking snowblowers around and trying to get to places where people hadn't. There had been people that had been stuck for days, not being able to go to work. And the one thing I will agree with is that the mayor really did drop the ball. He did not plan right, considering we knew that the storm was coming. We knew that, I mean, they had been telling us for a week almost that it was the storm of the century. But at the same time, I don't know how you can plan for something like this, especially back-to-back storms like that. So while I do agree with a lot of my fellow city, you know, dwellers here that it could have been done better, I also don't know how it could have been any better or worse than it already was. And I really didn't see the point in complaining about it. I mean, yeah, complain if you're going to be doing something to help the problem. But if you're just complaining to complain and you're not actually helping anybody, that's where I'm just like, okay, that's ridiculous. You need to do something more than just sit on this Facebook page and criticize. Especially, like, a lot of, like, city workers were part of this Facebook page. So I kind of felt bad for them. Like, they were, like, apologizing and telling everybody that they were doing everything that they, that they could. And, you know, that on top of, and I just spilled these drills everywhere. On top of having to do the job, they also had to get themselves out of their own home and help their neighbors and stuff. So, I mean, all around it was just crazy. And, like, the mayor, I think what it came down to is that it wasn't consistent enough. Like, there was just a lot of downtime where plows were just not on the road. And at times it was a matter of safety, and that part I will always be understanding of. But at times it was, like, after the storm, I think they could have been quicker. So, like, some of the other aftermath in the city, like, I was saying, we live on 2 major highways run through our city, and one of them you have to travel to get to my house. My mom lives a block away from the intersection of where these 2 highways meet, 53 and 35. So, or Highway 2 and 53 and Highway I-35. So, Interstate 35, not highway. But she lives a block away from the cross-section of both of those. And they are supposed to be 2-lane roads. And I think for the majority of them, for quite a while, it was 1-lane road because there was nowhere to put the snow at the time. But the worst of that isn't, of course it slows things down, but the worst of it was the side roads coming on to these main roads where there was so much slush that you weren't able to just smoothly get out. You'd get stuck a lot of times. I remember the first night I went to my mom's, every side road somebody was stuck because they just couldn't get out. So you sit there long enough and you just can't move. You can't go anywhere. So it was, and even now still, how many weeks after, almost 3 weeks after the storm, and there's still spots where the hills are so high on the corners, you can't see traffic. You pretty much have to risk it. So the amount of accidents, like traffic accidents, has been super high. Not to mention people who are just not being safe. Hold on. Sorry, cat was trying to do something. I don't know what she's doing there. She's getting into stuff. So, yeah, so you just can't see. You have to risk it. Oh, the other thing, that's what I was going to say. The other major accidents were people snow plowing and then their snowplows getting clogged. So, there's no other word, but idiots. These idiots would reach their hands inside without cutting the power. And, of course, getting their hands all cut up. I can imagine that there was probably some people that probably had worse. Like, missing appendages and stuff. So, it just, I'm sure there were people panicking, wanting to get themselves out, need to go to work. Not everybody can just take time off just because there's a big storm, and not every company is gonna give you the time off. Some will, but most companies around here, we have like a public bus service. It's called the DTA, and they always say, if the DTA shuts down, we'll shut down. That's literally the motto of a lot of businesses. So that'll be their way of saying you always have a way to get to work. Unfortunately, I worked as a temp at a lot of places. I worked for a temp agency, and so that was a big thing that you'd hear all the time. And, I'm like, people just become stupid, like they haven't driven in this kind of weather before, when we literally have snow more than we don't have snow around here. It's like 8 months, 9 months of the year we have snow on the ground. So it's just nuts. So it's as much as the mayor could have done more, there's more that people could have been doing to help out the community, to help out their neighbors. I mean, I was out there shoveling my road and getting slush out of the way, like where my alleyway was. My neighbors were having a hard time getting up, so I went out there and I was shoveling. And so now, some of the things, the reason, besides shoveling like crazy almost every day for, what is today, like the 15th or something, every day for 15 days I've been shoveling something, whether, because like I said, we've had a few snow dumps since then, and so then every time we have to clear all those walkways, which isn't as much as when the blizzard was here, but, it's still work after you've been doing it. I could spend hours outside and not be done. But then you have when the plows go by and they throw the snow up. Like I said, it's literally like shoveling rocks and cement, because it's just packed down, icy kind of snow that's piled up to my head. And I'm responsible for, clearing 2 paths out to the road, plus my driveway, and actually a path out to my alleyway, so the neighbor kids have somewhere to walk to get onto my sidewalk. I think this is the same color. So, I mean, it's just a lot. And I ended up going over and helping my mom completely shovel out. After that night, I went back and shoveled. Got her completely dug out. And some nice guy, he's a private, he does plowing privately for companies. And he was coming to do the restaurant. And he seen the pile that we had behind my mom's driveway, and he cleared it for us. It took him one swipe to go through it, and that saved us hours of work. So I was so grateful. And he said he had been doing that pretty much since the storm. It took me almost a week to get over to my mom's, because the first injury I suffered was my back. I threw out my back a little, and I know that's not entirely possible, but it was on the verge of completely being thrown out. I could feel it when I'd do certain things. My back would tighten up and stiffen, and sometimes I felt like I wouldn't be able to get back up if I bent down too far. And then, of course, I was out on my back patio, which is what I consider a patio is just like my decorative bricks that are laid down in like a square kind of, I guess. and no grass grows there. That's what I call my patio. And I was clearing it so that the dog has somewhere to go. Well, we don't have gutters just yet. And so ice was kind of building up because on top of all of this, the sun was still shining and people's heat were going enough to where you see just giant icicles coming off of people's houses. And because we don't have gutters yet, it just drips down onto the decks and patios. And I had walked out one day and slid right on it and fell right on. I mean, it was like a cartoon fall. Both legs were up in the air. I was completely off the ground and almost in levitation mode for, a split second. Felt like a lot longer. Probably felt like a minute that I was up in the air before landing completely hard onto my hip. And so a day or two later, it wasn't even the very next day, but I was in bed and it was morning time and I was waking up to, my alarm went off and I was getting up and I couldn't. I just couldn't. My hip had completely locked up and I, of course, called for my husband and he had to help me get up out of bed. I hadn't been able to, tonight is actually going to be the first night that I'm going to attempt to sleep back upstairs in my bed because getting up and down the stairs has not been easy. I have carpal tunnel in both wrists and I've got such a bad carpal tunnel flare up that I have not been able to diamond paint. I haven't been able to craft. And quite frankly, by the time I'm done with everything for the day, on top of my household chores and doing homeschool, online school stuff, I just don't have time to get down here and do the things that I want to do. But my carpal tunnel flared up so bad that this hand, my right hand, I don't know if it'll flip on from what you're seeing, but it's my right hand. It just, every morning I wake up and it's completely swollen, and I know I have carpal tunnel. I actually have a brace for both hands because it does flare up so bad, but it's not to the point of surgery. It's pretty close, but if I can avoid it for a while, that's kind of what I'm hoping. But major flare up of my carpal tunnel, and most of the time I can't do anything for quite a while. I haven't been able to respond to comments or nothing because typing, it's so painful. And obviously I'm in recovery, so I can't take anything for pain but besides Tylenol, Advil, or Aleve. So I dug out my old carpal tunnel brace. Well, I wait to get a doctor's appointment. And as you can imagine, with all of the injuries from everybody going through their thing, it's going to take a while before I can get in. But it's been helping. It helped enough where I was able to come down here and kind of work on this stuff. I wanted to get a video up to explain what's been going on. I am so behind on so many things. I have no time to do the things that I really wanted to do. I'm going to do my best. The day that this video is going up, I will be filming the next 3 ceiling videos, so I probably won't do polls to see what you guys want next. I'll just do them and put them up. I've got an ornament making video, which is, I gotta get up before Christmas, obviously, so I can put the things on my tree. I've got, the list of my videos is miles long, so I've just been kind of spreading out what I have, just a little bit, so that it would give me time to kind of heal and recover, because I have really missed filming. You have no idea how addicting it is to do these videos and stuff. Even if you're not watching and you're just listening, or if you are watching and listening, I miss it. I miss all of the interactions and stuff. Oh my god, I bought these baggies from Amazon and I hate them. They don't want to seal, because I typically will push all the air out and kind of vacuum seal them. So, I don't know, I think it helps keep the beads flat so they don't poke holes through the baggies, but it's not been going well. They don't like to seal, and my hands are a little bit weaker, so I really can't. I don't have a whole lot of power left in my hands right now, but So it's taken all of my time and energy to do all this snow cleanup with Christmas stuff, and then I do a ton of baking for the holidays, and it's even more so this year that I'm on my own and not living with my mom, where we would kind of split the baking and do half and half. So now I'm responsible for all of it that I want in my own home, at least. So I've had so much to do. I fell behind on a lot of household stuff too. So like my bathroom, it was so bad. I couldn't take it. It took me 2 hours to scrub it top to bottom, but I just had to because, I live with 3 boys. Enough said. Another one done. So I have 3 storage things done so far. I think. Yep. This one I did a while back. All I have left are my squares. I will start working on that while we finish up this video. But I gotta grab a few things. And I see that some 8440s fell out. So, yeah. I mean, there's just been so much going on in the city. And it's just nuts. And we keep getting snow, too. Like, mostly it's just been a dusting here and a dusting there. Thankfully, we haven't really had a major snowstorm since then. And actually, oh no, I did lose a couple drills. I got a little collection of drills going on that don't have a home right now. I'll just add them to my little container. I have it right here. I'm just debating if I want to get into actually putting those squares away from Witchy Owl, or if I want to get this canvas prepped, because it's not really like a Christmassy canvas. This is the Star Roar Snowman family one, but I want to get some washi tape put on it, and I like to do all of that. I like to have all my canvases kitted up and prepped as much as I can. I have a lot of in-progress ones that I probably should finish to give myself more storage available. But there's just so many other important things that need to get done. I mean, I haven't even diamond painted at all this month. Not a single drill. Ugh, and I really want to. I know what I want to talk about. So, now this is just me venting amongst trusted friends and allies here, because you really got to be dedicated to watch my videos. I think I'm not sure. Maybe I'll wait on this and I'll start putting the squares away, at least marking them off of my checklist. So let me know for this particular canvas, Snowman family, which one should I border it with? Should I be super like matchy and do the little Santa hats here to match their hats? Or should I go more classy and use the stripy lines? I kind of like the lines, but I do think it's super cute to do hats. So let me know, and maybe I'll do, if you want. If not, I'm not going to be offended or anything. I can do some canvas prep videos. I have a few canvases to get prepped, and I can show you how I get ready for new projects, because I have a lot of them to get ready. So let me know in the comments if that's something you want to see, and also let me know which washi tape you like better. So I'll start working on the squares. So I ended up I don't block many people. I've only ever blocked maybe 5 people. And of those 5, only 3 of them are commenters. And I'm not counting the people that come on and are like, a sub for a sub. Oh, I can help you make money. I'm not talking about those kinds of people. And actually, I should probably get the tape off of these so that I can put these away as well. God, these containers are just getting rough from being used so much. But lately, I had to block somebody because I am very open to constructive criticism. If you want to come on and criticize me, you better be ready to offer something valid as a replacement. For example, if you're saying, oh, what you're doing, like, oh, let's see if I can think of something. Just like, say I'm doing a technique wrong. Let's just be super stupid and generic about it. Like, you don't like the way that I fill my pen, and you want to voice that opinion and say the way that you fill your pen is not the right way. It would be a lot more useful if you did it this way. You know what I mean? If you're going to criticize, offer up a helpful solution instead of just coming on and being like, well, that's stupid. I don't like the way you did that. You're too opinionated. You're too judgmental. That canvas looks terrible. Well, fine. Tell me why it looks terrible and what you think I should do to fix it. Well, I had somebody come on, and going back to some of my old videos, I don't comment on old videos. Especially like if they're a year old. I don't reply to comments. I mean, I have a hard enough time keeping up with it on current videos, so going back to past videos, it's most likely it's not going to happen. It doesn't mean I don't read them, and I'm just being honest here. It's just, oh, heater's kicking in. I'm going to have to pause. Okay, so I'm back from the heater kicking in, and we don't have a whole lot left to go. I do got to start my timer up. Or I don't have a whole lot left I want to talk about, but before I finish my story about the blocked person and old comments and all the stuff I just dropped when the heater kicked in. So, what I need to do first with my squares before I can put them away is I use the inventory sheet to compare to my DMC checklist to see which ones I have and don't have. That way I know how much space I need, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to do that a little bit while I finish this last little sentiment. I have to grab my markers so I know which ones to mark off. Okay, so back to the person that I blocked, and I'll tell you that in just a second while I explain the part about the old comments. Now, I don't typically, and I to say I don't go back and comment on old videos, but there are exceptions. So if it seems like it's something super important or very time sensitive, I will respond to those. But most of the time people don't go back and check on that. So honestly, if you have a question that you really want answered, your best bet, honestly, is to comment on my most recent video, and you can reference the video if it's specific to the video, but that's your best chance, I guess, to get anything answered, or email me if you prefer that. I try to respond to all emails. The only ones I don't respond to are the ones from my supply video, my very old one, and I was giving away my old containers in that one, and I'll still get a lot of emails in reference to that, asking if I still have them and if I'd be willing to part with them still. I don't respond to those emails just because those have been long gone, and if I were to respond to every email that inquired about those, that's all I would ever do. It's pretty insane how many requests for those storage containers I get. I guess I should just come up with like a generic email form that says, I'm so sorry, thank you for your interest. I'll put that on my to-do list. That would probably be better because I don't like not telling people what they want to know. I guess I'm a people pleaser. I can't help it. So the other thing I forgot to mention is if it's on my list, if it's not on my list, I try to write up a label right away so I know which ones need it. Most of the time, though, even if I have it, I'll still end up making new labels and baggies if they have a die lot that is way off from what I already have. So I'll just keep the different die lots separate for a few reasons. One, for so that I can check them against my DMC book at some point, and two, so that if I come across a project, and it says that it's the same, DMC number, and that I have a dial out that matches, I prefer to go to the one that matches first, and then if not, then I'll mix it in from there. But anyway, so this person that got blocked, what they were doing was going back through a lot of old videos and just leaving criticisms, and not always toward me, but sometimes toward the companies. And if it's justified, I leave the comment. I'm not into like censoring people. And even if if you're attacking me, or you're attacking somebody else, or if you're criticizing a company unjustly, then yes, I will go back and I will delete the comment, because I want to foster a positive environment, and I just don't have time or energy to devote to somebody who cannot leave constructive criticism and then offer up a solution as well. And that's not to say, if say you're just voicing an opinion, like, oh, I just don't like this company, that is fine. I don't delete those. These ones in particular were, oh, that canvas is so terrible. It's got rivers all over it. It's just going to get ruined. It's not going to hold up. Things like that. When I am honest to a fault sometimes, and if a canvas is bad, I'm not going to hide it from you. I'm not going to pretend that a canvas is good when it's not. I'm not going to pretend that drills are good when they're not, no matter what company it is. And then it was on quite a few different ones. And like I said, if you're just going to criticize without, trying to be constructive or offer up a solution, and I feel like it's just fostering a negative environment, I'm not going to put up with it. And instead of going through and deleting comments on every single video, I just blocked them. I'm too old to deal with somebody who just, and I never see comments from this person. I'm pretty good at remembering the people that comment a lot. And so for this person just to pop up out of nowhere and just be super critical on every video, they're finding something to be critical about, I'm just not going to deal with it. If you're somebody that comments all the time, and you interact with me all the time, and you just say, I really dislike this company, or I really hate this company, I'm not going to delete it, because you've been an integral part of this community, of the family that we're growing together here on Abstract Crafter, and I'm not going to just delete comments in that way. So I don't want anybody to think that they have to that's something that they have to worry about. I have my opinions on certain companies as well, where some companies I'm just like, ew, trash. So I just don't watch those videos either. And that's the other thing. It's like, if you know you don't like a company, why would you watch a video to just go on and completely trash the creator or the company? Like, what good does that really do? I guess I just don't understand. I don't get what satisfaction that gives, I guess. Maybe if you were really burned by a company and you want to get it out there, you want to make sure that your voice is heard, I get that. And every time when it comes to deciding whether or not to delete a comment or to block somebody, a lot of thought goes into that, and it is not something that I do on a whim. I don't take it lightly, that decision lightly. I really put a lot of thought into it. I converse with my husband about it. But just lately, I think I've just been more irritable too. And my patience grows thinner and thinner. And you just kind of can get a vibe from certain people, It's like certain people, you just, even in a comment, you can just feel that negative vibe, and you can just feel that they have nothing positive to contribute. And nothing, I just don't want to have to deal with those comments on a regular basis. It's just not something I'm interested in, and I don't know very many people that would be interested in it. So, and I feel like now I'm over-explaining and over-justifying it, but just know that I am not somebody who is in the habit of censoring people and deleting comments and blocking people. It's just, for the most part, I'm getting better. The longer I'm on YouTube, the more of a thick skin I tend to be developing, which is great for me because, I can be a very sensitive person. So sometimes I have to, my husband is a really good voice of reason, if you will. And sometimes, just hearing from him, his opinion on certain things like that, it'll really make me see things a little differently sometimes. He can react without being super emotional about it. So I thank him for that because he is such a good voice of reason. And lately I feel like I'm kind of alone in this community. And I know a lot of you will say I'm not, but I'm not when it comes to you guys. But as far as with other creators and stuff, I've dealt with a lot, as you know from my one video. I won't rehash that stuff. But just in general, people I thought were my friends, and when it turned out that I wouldn't completely kiss their butt, all of a sudden I'm no good to them. And I've had people I thought were my friends steal my ideas and pass them off as their own, or things like that. So I find that I don't really have anybody in this community besides you guys to really talk to. And for the most part, I'm not really, it doesn't upset me. And I know that may be hard to believe since I'm talking about it, but I really try not to, because it's something that, if I let it, will completely eat away at me. And as I went through this, I did not write down the last few that I didn't have. I think I left off at 922. Let's just see. 791. I did not write that one down. So I can get overly sensitive about things, and I can be a very reactive person. I'm a very emotional person, so it's not unthinkable that I might overreact to things that don't need that kind of reaction. So, and when you don't have somebody in the same community, whether it be not just diamond painting, but I'm not real big in the crafting arena either, because I do focus more on the diamond painting aspect. And so all around, I don't really have that spot in YouTube just yet. I'm happy to be where I'm at right now. And I'm never gonna, if somebody were to reach out to me, I'm never gonna not interact with them. It's where I'm at, and I mention it simply as a talking point, I guess. So now that I have done my little checklist, I don't do anything further with this. This is just, I fill this in just for those times when maybe I run out of drills and I just want to quickly look at this, which is why I've color coded it in this way with rainbow colors, so that I can easily read. When I did have these where they were blocked out in just black or blue, and it was kind of hard to read. Everything looked, I don't know, they're filled in. So with the colors, it's easy for me to see. And what I do is, so in this column here with the dark pinks, when I have a new color, I just shift over either this way or, whatever column color is next to it. And I use that one to kind of help me differentiate. So if I forget to write them down like I did here, it'll stand out a little bit more to me. So, and I don't, like I said, I don't feel bad about, I think the thing I feel bad about is that I just don't feel like I have, any real life friends. I don't know. The importance of it isn't necessarily there either. But, I mean, everybody needs somebody to talk to. And, you know, I'm good at making friends, and I'll make plenty more friends, and, you know, I enjoy chatting with you guys. When you email me and in the comments and stuff, I really do enjoy that. Which also reminds me that at the end of this year, I will be shutting down my Facebook group. I'm never on Facebook. I don't have time to dedicate to it. And so then I don't post on Instagram, which is where I like Instagram. And I know a lot of you don't have it, but I'm going to keep my Facebook page, but I am going to shut down the group at the end of the year just because I don't think it's fair for you guys, you know, to keep putting yourself out there, putting yourself, you know, sharing your pictures and your stories and stuff with me when I'm not there to respond and not really there to interact with you in that way. And then that'll give me more time to focus on, you know, 'cause like I said, if there's too much going on, my default mode is to shut down, and which is why I've been slacking on comments. And so when there's Facebook and Instagram and all of the other platforms, it gets hard for me I shut down. You know, I don't interact in the way that I feel like is the right way. Okay, so let's stop talking about all that, because I'm not trying to like make anybody feel any kind of way, but let's talk a little bit about my system here. So now what I do is so I know that I have 5 new colors going in, at least 5. There may be more that I just forgot and missed on my sheet in my talking. So I know at some point I'm going to need this sheet, which then I shift everything around. I'm nowhere near close to having all of the squares. I'm getting close on the rounds. So when I get closer, I'll have spots available. So like 151, I'll just put a blank baggie in there, and I'll have a spot set up for all of them when I get closer. But, you know, then I have to buy all these sheets, and I'm kind of debating on finding a new system. I just like how easy this one is, but some of the bags are getting really full, and so they fall out a lot. So I'm gonna look for something that's a little bit better for storing bigger things. I don't know, we'll see. I've seen a lot of really nice ones. I just have to decide which one I like for me and for storage, and going by costs and stuff, you know, what's gonna be the best for storing leftovers for myself, and being convenient. I really like this system because it's so visual. But what I do now is I'll go through, like I said, with the 5, I know I'm gonna end up needing at least one more sheet somewhere along the way, probably early on, because I have a lot of like small numbers and not so many big ones. So that means it's a lot of shifting. And even at the back here, I only have 2 open spaces in the last page. So I could theoretically, nope, I'd still need an extra page. Say I only had 2, then I probably wouldn't have to add another empty sheet in, but I do. So now I'm going to stack these in numerical order and just go through the book, and as I come across the number, then I will, add it in. And the other reason I kind of want to switch this system is because this is, I think, a 4-inch binder, and it's already really plump full. Like, I don't have a whole lot more space. I guess I got about a 1/2 inch left before it's up to here, which is where my other books are. I have a book just for rounds, and then I have one for diamond dots, special drills, and uncoded drills. Those are all in one book together. And it's going to come to a point where I don't have room for those either. So now I just need to go through and put these in order. And of course, if You know, like this one, $7.91. Oh, jeez, I hate when I only have a few like that to put in a baggie. Just because it's a lot of work to start shifting these around. And I really only like to do it when I have a few kits to do at a time to make it really worth it. Because, but anyway, I'll just put the ones that have baggies made up, because that means that these are not in there, and it's easier for me when I'm going through the book to see where the missing ones need to be placed in. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but my system isn't really as complicated as I make it out to be. This is probably the most simple way of storing drills. And again, I know I've already asked you guys to leave comments about a lot of things, but if this is something you want to see more in-depth video on, I am more than happy. And I won't make you listen to me peel all these labels off. You had enough of that in the beginning of the video. So, I'm also so happy that you guys stuck around and listened to me ramble about the snowstorm and let me vent about little minor annoyances with my channel and, you know, other creators. And of course, I would never say who the creators are. I mean, maybe you can guess, but I won't even verify it. But, excuse me, I'm sorry. I hate when I clear my throat on camera. But I would never want to make anybody change their opinion of a favorite creator just because I had an experience that maybe wasn't the best with them. So, for that reason, I don't like to, you know, I could. A lot of times I thought, God, there's so much drama in this community. I could start my own diamond painting drama channel. But really, how many views would that really get? Not very many. And I think it would make a lot of people not like me. And I'm just not very good at being mean. I'm not good at, you know, even calling people out when they're wrong. It takes a lot for me to do that. So I'm not really the best person to, but I thought about it. Sometimes I think, God, some of these people just are cruel and they get away with everything, and they, I get all the emails of different companies that are trying to get me to work with them, and then I'll see different creators making videos for them, and I know what they did for that, to do that video, and I know what they had to say for that video. So a lot of times it just infuriates me because I know that they're not being as honest as they should be. And sometimes, yes, that does drive me nuts, but at the same time, I don't know. It's not really my place to do anything, really. I mean, maybe to an extent, if there was something really just awful and backhanded going on, then of course I'm gonna say something. But it's mostly just harmless things, or people just trying to make money and make a living off of YouTube, and I can't fault anybody for that. I mean, we all just want to make a living. That's why you'll see people with 20 ads in their videos. Because they're just trying to make a living off of their channel. And to a point, I can respect it. But at the same point, you can't really blame them either. Because if they don't put ads in, YouTube will do it anyway. And if even if you have monetization turned on, let's just put it that way, and you don't just tell YouTube where you want those ads, they're just going to put them in there. And they'll put a lot more in than you would. I try to only do 2 to 3, depending on the video. But if I don't place them myself, then YouTube will put one in every 2 minutes. Which makes me crazy, because it's always, for me, it's always the same ads over and over and over for this RV place near me. And I've decided I will never buy an RV from that place because I'm so sick of their ads. So just know that if you know, there are some, like, bigger channels I've noticed where they will put them in. I mean, I was watching this one channel, and before they could even say their entire intro, like how I say, hey everybody, it's Brandy, and you're watching Abstract Crafter, then there'd be a video, or an ad break. That, I'm like, really? You did that? That wasn't YouTube, because they try to find, when they do it, they try to find pauses or natural breaks, they call it, in the video, and, which is what I try to do too, but that's what YouTube will say, is that they try to find natural breaks in your video to place ads to make it as seamless as possible. So I guess there's that. They do, I don't know, because I try to avoid that at all costs, but that's just a little insider tip for you. But you know, I am going to end this video because it's over an hour and my throat is getting very sore. It's getting late. I have an appointment in the morning, so I should probably wrap up. If you want to see more videos like this, that's another thing too. Comment down below. Just comment whatever you want. Answer whatever question I've asked, however you want. My beeper is going to go off pretty soon, actually. No, I thought it said a minute, but it says 6. But I'm still going to wind this video down. It's been long enough. I am starting to babble about nonsense. And if you have any questions about any of the things that I mentioned in the end, I won't, like I said, I won't say any specific creator names. Ooh, I see a garbage one. I gotta get it out. Or anything like that. But if you have questions about, like, ads and the kinds of things, the kinds of emails I get, I can make a whole video on shady sponsorships and shady endorsements and stuff. I can make a whole video on that and talk to you about it. I won't say specific companies, but I can talk to you about what to look out for in other people's videos, so you know when those types of things are happening. I can make a video about that. I have no problem doing that. It took me a lot of research and a long time to figure it out for myself. So if I can save other people the trouble, or I can link you to some of the videos that I watched that help me figure out when I'm being swindled, I'll do that too. You know, whatever I can do. My whole goal with this channel is to make informed consumers, and I think that should include knowing how to spot, you know, scammy things, you know, like, or scummy things, or, you know, tricks that companies will do, or how to look for, like, I always try to mention if a company sends me something, but it should always be in the description box as well. It's actually illegal not to disclose it. So if somebody sends you something for free and you don't put a disclaimer somewhere in your video, you can theoretically get in trouble for it. I mean, most diamond painting channels are so small, though, that they're not really going to look out for that. But once you hit over a certain milestone as far as subscribers, you will be on YouTube's radar, especially because they're really cracking down lately on weird things like creator-on-creator bullying and content for kids and stuff. So YouTube is really cracking down on things. So you never know. It's just a matter of time before more things like that start cropping up and people start getting dinged all around for different weird things. But, and there I go. I'm rambling once again. So I had better cut this video short. See, even with better lighting, I have a hard time. Like, these look identical to me. Do they look identical to you? Let me know. But, alright. I better go before I get myself into another heaping pile of stank and say something I may regret. I will work on this tomorrow. I made so much progress. Thank you so much for hanging out with me while I worked on cleaning up my work area and getting some stuff put away so I can start some new projects. Like I said, I'm filming this video the night before, so I will be getting those ceiling videos up. The rest of that series I'll be getting up. I have pushed back Project Amazon Rhinestone Edition to next month so that I can get caught up on some of this other stuff. I will be getting out a couple. I'll try to get some Christmas related videos out. I will do my best is what I'll say. I'll probably have a few extra videos up in my attempt to catch up on videos and getting the stuff out there that I promised. So, but that's where I'm gonna cut this video off. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not done so already. It would mean so much to me. Hit the thumbs up button. That'll help get the video seen so that our wonderful, beautiful, lovely family can grow. I almost hit my goal for the end of the year of 5,000. I'm a little bummed I didn't hit it, but with your help, I can meet my goal next year, which is to hit 10,000 by the end of the year. So we can do it, which means a lot of work from you and from me. So if you think somebody might get some use on my videos, feel free to share it in groups. Just help me get my name out there, help my family grow even bigger, our family grow even bigger. And then don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you will always be notified when I upload videos just like this one and all the amazing things I have coming up. And with that, I will let you go. Have an awesome day, friends. Have fun doing whatever it is that truly makes you happy. I love you, friends, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.